Good morning and welcome to another episode of a Migrant's Journey, a series that I'm starting to document different kind of migrants' journey. I mean, as I always say, yes, moving to Australia and migrating Australia or any other country for that matter is probably a dream come true. And we just look at the rosy side of things and the good side of the migration and not the actual struggle, especially getting that first role. It's a big struggle, and so this series is kind of here to document the different struggles and what a migrant goes through out there. So thanks for signing up or joining us on live. We have about 6 viewers on LinkedIn, so good morning to all of you. Please do leave your comments on LinkedIn or YouTube or wherever you're watching. Please do leave your comments. As I always say, the more noise you make, the more people this reaches it or the more people hears this, and the more happy I am. So please leave a comment. And this is a 14th episode. We have already had 13 episodes so far. Amazing response. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't watched those already. You can kind of binge on that those. I'm not sure if it's binge worthy, but you can binge if you'd like to on the last 13 episodes and hear some amazing stories. So today I have Kartik with me. He's a business analyst who graduated last year in July and secured a role, I think, within 3 months. So let's hear that story straight from him. Welcome to the show, Kartik. How are you today?
Hi Vinesh, I'm good. How are you?
Good. So let's go straight into things. Who are you? What do you do, Kartik?
Yeah, my name is Kartik Tara. I'm from Delhi, India. Uh, I'm working as a business analyst in Shape, Australia.
Hmm.
We specialize in the office fit outs and refurbishments.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's been around 10 months I've been working here.
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah.
and yeah, things are going good.
So
Um,
so the time just flies. I mean, I was under the impression that you attended my meetup early this year, but apparently it was in last September or October, I think. So yeah, time
yeah,
absolutely flies. I mean, a
yeah,
lot has happened after that. So let's get into it. So let's go to the beginning. You came here as an international student, I think, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, most international students that I asked to, they say I didn't do any preparation at all. But what preparation do you do before you arrived in Australia? How was that preparation once you realized that, hey, I'm moving to Australia, and between you the move, what preparations did you do?
To be honest, I was a bit aware of the process in Australia about how you have to get a job because it's totally different.
Yeah.
Because one of my friend was he was studying here and he gave me a scenario like how it's in Australia, how you should land a job. It's not that easy,
Hmm.
but it's not that difficult as well.
Yeah.
So I started taking information from Google and what how can you land a job and what kind of strategy you can make. So you can say I did a bit of homework,
That's good.
and yeah, and then when I came to Australia, definitely that's a different thing
Yeah.
because in reality you face those things, and in theoretical
Yeah.
way it's different. So yeah, definitely those things that I planned in India definitely helped me when I came here.
So that's good. I mean, at least when you face reality, you know this is how it is supposed to work, and and
Yes,
instead of getting
yeah,
surprised, oh shit, why is this happening? So that's good.
yeah,
That was good prep. So um,
yeah,
okay, so what happened when you arrived here? How was the first few weeks or first few months like? I mean, it's a completely different world. The culture is different.
yeah.
The way even your masters is done is different. So what was the experience like?
Yes, it was very different. Like it was, as you said, it was a new world,
Hmm.
lot of new people to meet, and a completely different language. So the first 2 or 3 months you take to settle down, you see how it's going on around you, and adjust according to that. I took 2 or 3 months in the beginning, and then after that I was in the run. Okay, okay, this is the process of how it's going, which technologies are in demand in Australia. So as soon as I came in Australia, I started working on these things.
Hmm.
So say I'm working on a tool named Tableau.
Hmm.
So I knew about it. Okay, this tool is definitely in huge demand. So I started working on it right like after 2 or 3 months I came to Australia.
That's nice.
So also catching up with my tutors of in university, asking them questions. Okay, what kind of strategy should I adopt so that I could land up an internship or that kind of thing that can help me securing a job right after my graduation.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too late for me, I would say, because if I would have been late, definitely things might have gone a bit delayed.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. But from what I hear, your journey looks a bit different from what usually international students go through. I mean, you were ready right from the beginning. You
yeah,
kind of knew what to prepare. Uh,
yeah.
so what did you think about what's happening around you, especially with international students? I mean, they have a different attitude usually. They don't have that get go from the beginning, or they don't know where they are going to. What were you seeing around you with your friend circle and with the people around you?
To be honest, I was very active on LinkedIn
Yeah.
from the day I arrived. So I think it was your post or somebody else who was, very active on these job hunting processes and how you should be landing jobs. So I think these things helped me out.
Hmm.
Also gave me a scenario. People who have been graduated, I talked to them as well, like how did you get a job and what kind of different strategies you took and how long it took for you to get a job in your role.
Hmm.
So it wasn't like I was just talking to one person or just two-person. It was a kind of you are swimming in different ways and finding information from every part of the corner.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I think should be the right strategy
Yeah.
for every international student who is watching this video. I think that
Absolutely.
that might be a huge benefit for you guys.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.
So let's get into the job search side of things. I mean, you already said that your preparation started early on,
Yeah.
but when it came to applying for roles or that start of the process, first of all, when did you start seriously applying, or was it during graduation or towards the end of your graduation? And what what strategy do you use to start with, and how what sort of response did you get there?
So during my graduation, during my university days, my focus was getting an internship
Hmm.
because I think that was the most important thing than getting a job,
Yep, absolutely.
because that gave me a know-how of how is the Australian workplace.
Hmm.
So I did get an internship when I was in my second last semester,
Yeah.
and that luckily was in my role. It was a data analyst role,
Hmm.
and it was a 3 months internship.
Hmm.
So that was, I will say, the icebreaker.
Yeah. And
And
how did you get an internship? I mean, what's a typical process of getting an internship here in Australia?
so I got it from a job expo in my university, in
Okay,
Deakin
excellent.
University.
Hmm.
So yeah, so there are a lot of companies coming, and it's just, you can say, a hit and trial kind of thing. You just give your resumes. If you get a call, then it's fine. Otherwise, you have to apply to a different company.
Yeah.
So luckily, I got that internship, and yeah, so that began the process of, you will say, how I'll do after my graduation,
Hmm.
because when I entered that workplace, it was like a completely new world because all were Australians and I
Yeah.
was the only Indian. Um, so that gave me a lot of confidence once I finished my internship.
Yeah.
So okay, this is the kind of thing you should be adapting to, and these are the skills that are in high demand. You should, and also the communication skills. I
Mm.
think that are the most important thing, because for people like us, it's I think a big drawback for some people,
Yeah.
because the way we communicate, that has to be developed if you want to enter the job
Yeah.
industry.
Absolutely.
So that makes a huge difference.
Hmm.
And even I'm working in my company, I think the day I began and now, it's a huge difference.
Mm.
So yeah, it's just about confidence. If you have that feeling, okay, you have to do it, then definitely no one can stop you from doing it.
Good advice. So again,
Yeah,
so you secured an internship, which itself is a good boost. I
yeah,
think it goes for 3 months, is it?
yes, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
3 months. So how did it or what did you do after that? I mean, did you start applying for roles, or what happened after that?
Yeah, so I was very active in different meetups.
Mm-hmm,
So there were many Tableau and Power BI meetups happening in city. So I was very active in those. I was meeting people, and getting in contact with them. And also I was active on LinkedIn as well.
that's good.
So um, there was an instance like I was sending huge amount of messages to people,
Mm-hmm,
but at a point I was like, okay, I should be qualitative rather than being quantitative.
mm-hmm,
So yeah, I messaged a person, and definitely it began from there.
mm-hmm.
I messaged him on LinkedIn, and um, it was just two or three people who replied, to be honest, on LinkedIn. So yeah, so that's how it began, and that person called me up for a catch up in his office,
Mm-hmm,
and he told me about how it's working in his company and what kind of things we have in pipeline and what kind of tools we have been assessing.
mm-hmm,
So that gave me a kind of brief up. Okay, if I have to prepare for this kind of role, what kind of skills I need to brush up.
yep.
So I started working on those skills when I went back home, and then after I did my like graduation, I contacted him again. I've done my graduation, and I'm definitely looking for jobs.
Mm-hmm,
Then he called me back in his office, and he told me like, this is the thing we have been working on.
mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I wasn't aware it was an interview. He
Okay.
called me for an interview. I
Yeah,
wasn't aware of it.
yeah.
And he told me like, did you know this was an interview? Oh, I was like, oh. So he said, okay, we have been looking for a person who we need to work on Tableau.
Mm-hmm.
So are you open for that? I was like, oh
Yeah.
wow, that was a huge surprise. So I was saying, yeah, I would be eager to join it. Then I was hired on a contract basis.
Mm-hmm.
It was I would say a 3 months. It ended for a 6 months contract. Then
Mm-hmm.
it converted to a full time role recently.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so yeah, that's how it began, because some things happen unexpectedly, and I would say that happened because this kind of things I was preparing beforehand. So yeah,
That's a really good story. I mean, perfect example of
yeah,
how networking can help you overcome these obstacles people call local experience. You're on student visa, I assume, right?
yes,
Yeah, so student visa issues. I mean, nothing at all came to him, and he didn't even know it was an interview, and he got a
yeah,
job. So that's what networking and meeting people and all those aspects, the preparation you do, this is what
yeah,
it can lead to. I mean, and this is like a golden example to explain how it works. So thank you so much for sharing it. So
yeah.
would it be right to say you didn't probably apply online at all?
I did apply. Like I was waiting for the final confirmation from that person.
Okay,
So it took like a month or so to get that. In that period, I was applying in
okay.
case if that didn't
And
work.
did anything happen out of that? Any
To be honest,
responses at
no,
all?
no,
Nothing at
no,
all.
no, no, no,
Okay.
no.
So, did did you have any bad experiences over here in terms of job search, or nothing like that?
I would say when I was finding a part-time job, there were
Hmm.
plenty of experiences.
Yeah. Can you share
Um,
probably one of them so that people are aware that this is okay to happen?
yes, it's
Yeah.
it's. I think it's like about you apply to numerous jobs. Like I was applying for roles that are related to my field rather than going into that restaurants, kitchen hand, and that
Mm,
kind of stuff. I was looking for any role that I can benefit it in my field.
mm,
But unfortunately I was not even getting responses from people.
yeah.
So it's not like you were getting rejections, or even it's getting failed every time. You're not getting responses, so sometimes it felt a bit frustrated.
Hmm.
But then it's about getting stick to the right approach.
Yeah.
So I think rather than applying for numerous jobs, it's about meeting people, getting to know about it, how it's going around. not just sitting in front of your computer every time and just finding jobs. I don't think that's a good strategy if you have to get a job in Australia.
Absolutely.
So
That's what I keep reiterating. Um,
yeah,
Applying online is probably the least effective way to job search, and especially in the current times, I mean, the situation that we are going through with the pandemic going on and stuff. Um, Especially migrants and international students, they should realize that a huge pool of working professionals have been made redundant, so they're adding to your pool of competition and they will definitely get some edge over you.
yeah,
And unfortunately the way it is. So if you
yeah,
apply online, you're competing with probably hundreds of other people who are way more qualified than you are. And when it's just about a resume, and when they are just comparing your resume, it's easy for you to get left out. So like
yeah,
Karthik said, invest time in meeting people, making the right connections, and uh, it's not like meeting people will, you meet five people and that will unfold into something right away. It's not like that. Networking is a journey on its own. Like Karthik said, he met one person, and that's the reason everything happened. But he would have met hundreds of people to meet that one person. I mean, we are not
yeah,
seeing what
true.
we are sharing only the tip of the iceberg here. We are not seeing what's happened below that. So that's
Yeah.
very key over here. So that was an absolutely wonderful journey, Karthik, and I'm glad that all of it worked out. And you started with 3 month contract, which got extended to a 6 month, and eventually into full time.
So it was initially a 1 month, then it got converted into a 3 months contract because they were assessing Tableau, like how
Hmm.
it's working in the company or not. So the contract got extended, and eventually, after I think 5 or 6 months, it they knew like this kind of tool is needed in the company.
Hmm.
So that's when it got converted into a full-time role.
Wonderful. So I'm glad that it worked well for you. So that's
Yeah.
again another thing how sometimes contract works. It doesn't always work that way. I mean, most of the time contracts are extended. But say, for example, if his company had decided they won't go ahead with Tableau, that would not have been extended. Just giving an example out there.
Yeah.
Just a note to our viewers out there. I see very few people watching this live. Probably it's a lazy morning out there. That's the reason. But if you're watching, if you're still inspired by the story, please leave a comment. When you leave a comment, the LinkedIn algorithm likes this, and it will go into more feeds, and more people will see this. I know. I mean, I'm kind of selling stuff here, but that's needed for more people to see this and in the end make a better impact. So, um, what would you've kind of shared a completely different journey compared to the typical stories I hear from international students, which is wonderful. So now you kind of know what is it that people around you do and what you do differently. What would your advice be? Either be it be international students or recent migrants over here. What would your advice to them be? I know you already shared a lot of tips, but what would your one major advice be?
I would say as soon as you come to Australia, you should be prepared for everything. You shouldn't be too late to start the things. So one of my friends did was like he was waiting for his graduation to get completed, and then he started
That's too late.
looking for jobs. So that is very
Yeah.
late. So I would suggest students who have come to Australia or they are in their first semesters, I would advise them to start right away, because this is a very golden time for you if you are looking for a job right after graduation, because this is the time you set up your base, and once your graduation comes near, then you can set your foot on the pedal and then you can accelerate from there.
Hmm.
So that I think is the biggest advice I would say. After that, it's not, I know it's a tough time going on for people finding jobs. I know it's a very tense situation right now. um, I would say not to lose hope, because this time you can utilize it for building up your skills, catching up with people, seeing these kind of web sessions. and then definitely no one can stop you from getting a job. Jobs are in huge demand, just like people don't follow the right approach, I would say.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I completely agree to what you said to start early. I mean, what I say is the best time to start networking was yesterday, but the next best time is probably today and right now. So you have to start it right now. And interestingly, my meetup is coming up this week. So I send this message to people, or I get some messages from people saying, I'm just starting my master's or bachelor's. I'm just in the first sem. Uh, is there something for me? And so that shouldn't be the attitude. See, irrespective if you have arrived in Australia or even if you're planning to move in Australia, start networking. There is nothing tailor made for, say, first semester students. There is nothing like that. Every networking event is an opportunity for you, and everything. I mean, irrespective of if it's from experienced professionals or people who are just trying looking to start out, just go for it and just meet people. That's where you'll get clarity. No one will say, hey, these are the ones you have to go and these are the ones helpful for first semesters. That's not the way it works. So you have to absolutely go for that. uh,
Yep.
Now, coming to my meetup, you mentioned that you attended. I don't remember if it was September, October, but it was one of those months. What were your thoughts on that, Karthik? How was the environment around that? What were I mean, you came there to share your story, and people were actually looking up to you to hear that inspiring story. So, what did you think about the environment, the setup, and what were going through people's thoughts? I mean, you talked to a lot of people out there. What was the environment like over
Yeah, it was a really positive environment, I would say. A lot of people were sharing their stories about how they have been in Australia and how long they have been looking for jobs. And also, people, I think some people got the job on that day as well.
there?
So they shared their stories as well, how
Yeah.
they got their jobs. So I think it was a kind of a motivational session for
Hmm.
people who were looking for job. Also, I would say even for me, I think it was like I was feeling really good. Like I was inspiring lots of people there. I was amongst them. I would say 2 or 3 months back, and then I got a job. So that inspired a lot of people in that particular session.
Hmm.
So I think these kind of meetups definitely help. It is, I would say, the best thing you can do in this kind of situation. Lot of information you can gather. Definitely you can't go and meet person like in person, and you can only watch these live sessions. But
Yeah.
definitely it's a huge go from myself.
Yeah. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I'm having some technical issues. That's why there's a small lag, but I trust that you can hear what
uh,
I'm saying. Uh, uh, and I absolutely
yeah.
agree. I mean, it's surprising sometimes how sharing your story, and it's nothing, it's not rocket science. It's just sharing your story, what you did and how you did. And sometimes it's surprising how much impact it has on other people, right? And that's where I started. I mean, that's how I became who I am today. I started by sharing my story over here, and that has kind of snowballed into what I do today. And the series that I'm doing right now, it's all about stories. It's all about sharing your story, and the feedback that I get is amazing. I mean, so my request to all of you is, once you secure a role here, don't sign out of LinkedIn forever and shut it out as if it's over. It's not over. If you can just share your story, you will inspire hundreds of people out there, and that that's it's a good feeling to have when people say, thanks for sharing that and stuff like that. So please do that, and that will have a huge impact. Also, if you're watching this session live, or if you're watching this session before the July of 9th, that's in 2 days, or sorry, that's before tomorrow. uh, my meetup is coming up on July 9th, so if you'd like to attend it, please send me a message and I can send you the details for that as well. All right, Karthik, so I think my laptop is still a bit groggy on this morning. It's I'm not sure what's going wrong there, but that's fine. It's part of conducting these technical online meetups. You will run to some issues sometime, but I think that's all right now. So thank you so much for sharing your story, Karthik. It was a wonderful story. It kind of highlights why networking is so important, even as a student or as a migrant or for anyone for that matter. It's a very different kind of story on considering what typically international students and migrants do, and I'm so glad that you agreed to share this over here today. If people would like to connect you or ask some questions, would LinkedIn be the right place?
Yes, definitely. I'm open to any kind of information people need.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Yeah.
If you have any questions on this session or questions for me or Karthik, please leave a comment, be it on LinkedIn or YouTube. Just keep in mind, sometimes LinkedIn comments are a bit hard to track. So if you can send me a message or send me a message, leave a comment on YouTube, which is visible and I can immediately get back to, that'd be great. But otherwise, thank you so much, Karthik, and thank you so much. I think I'm not sure. It says there is only one viewer right now in LinkedIn, but I'm sure there are more. It's usually a LinkedIn bug that I see. I hope there are way
Yeah.
more people watching this, and I'm sure way more people will watch this as the day progresses. But thank you so much for watching, even though if you're watching live or watching a replay. Please do leave a comment, important, and please do subscribe my channel. I was looking at my statistics in YouTube yesterday, and it said 80% of the viewers are not my subscribers. So that's a big chunk. So please hit that subscribe button so that it has some benefits for me as well. That's the reason I keep asking. So thank you so much, Karthik. Thank you so much for everyone who was watching this, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you, Karthik.
Thank you, Vinesh. Thank you very much. See ya.